Okay, so you won't believe what happened next. When Emma finally came out of our bedroom, she was quiet, like unnervingly quiet. The yelling was gone, but her face was just stone cold. It was honestly scarier than when she was upset before. She walked right up to me, grabbed my arm, and just stared at me for a second. Then she said in this low, steady voice that if I ever cheated on her, she would smack me and show no mercy. Those were her exact words. I swear, the chill went right through me. Turns out, while I was busy drinking with the guys in the living room, the women, my female cousins, like my cousin Emily, she's Mark's. You know Mark, my oldest cousin, his girlfriend, or maybe wife now, I don't even keep track. And their friends had gone up to Emma, and they told her straight up as some kind of twisted April Fool's prank that they knew I was cheating on her. Can you even wrap your head around that? Who in their right mind pulls a prank like that, especially on someone they barely know? Emma had only met Emily, maybe once or twice before, at our wedding like 4 years ago. The rest of those women, complete strangers to her. You have to understand, Emma is really religious. Our marriage vows, to her they are everything sacred. This wasn't just some light-hearted joke she could brush off. This was questioning the absolute foundation of our relationship, the trust we built. In her culture, cheating is like one of the absolute worst things a spouse can do. The worst betrayal. She told me once, like a while back, that in her parents' marriage, they've been married like 35 years, they've never, not once, even joked about infidelity. Because it's seen as that disrespectful to the relationship, that serious. So when my cousins and their friends tried to explain to her, stammering something about it being just a prank, Emma wasn't hearing it. Not at all. She looked at them. Her expression, it was intense. Not angry, yelling intense, but this quiet, burning intense. She just told them, calmly but totally firmly, to get out of our house, right now, and that she didn't want to hear any more of their explanations. She wasn't yelling, which weirdly made her seem even more intimidating. She was just utterly firm and cold. And me? I just stood there, frozen, like a statue, an idiot statue. A part of me, that old ingrained loyalty, felt like I should step in, defend my cousins. Because yeah, we've always been super close, practically like siblings growing up. But this other part, this stronger part that felt sick to my stomach watching Emma's face, knew, absolutely knew, that they had crossed a line so far that it wasn't even visible anymore. I didn't immediately back up Emma's demand for them to leave, and man, I realize now that was a huge mistake. I just froze. Couldn't think, couldn't move. My cousins looked at me, expecting me to jump in, defuse it, make a joke, something. But when I didn't instantly leap to their defense, they started reluctantly gathering their things. One of my male cousins actually tried to approach Emma again. Maybe to apologize properly this time, I don't know. But she just turned her back on him, walked away, and went straight back into our bedroom. The whole group, all 10 of them, were out of our house within maybe 15 minutes. The sudden quiet after they left felt deafening. The air was thick with tension. After everyone was gone, Emma was still clearly fuming, even though she wasn't showing it outwards anymore. She came out again later and looked at me. That same cold, intense look in her eyes. She repeated it, said that if I ever cheated on her, she would make sure I regretted it for the rest of my life. I didn't get married to you just to find myself in bed with another woman, she said, her voice low and tight. I tried desperately to reassure her again, told her, pleaded with her, that I would never cheat, that it was a horrible lie. I reminded her that she already had complete access to my phone, knew all my passwords, that she could check anything, anytime. I thought that might help, show her I had nothing to hide. I shouldn't have to check your phone to trust you, she said. That line, it just hung in the air between us. And it was true. The very fact that she felt the need to go through my phone at all showed just how much this stupid, cruel prank had damaged her trust, how much it had shaken her. It made me feel terrible, guilty, even though I hadn't done anything wrong, and then I said something stupid. Trying to break the tension, I told her to calm down and not let the alcohol affect her judgment. Yeah, not my finest moment. She looked at me like I'd just slapped her in the face, just looked, and then walked out of the room without another word. We slept in separate rooms that night. It was awful. We've never done that before in our marriage. The house felt huge, empty, and cold. I barely slept. The next morning was, beyond awkward. Emma was incredibly quiet during breakfast. I didn't know what to say to make things better. Every potential sentence felt wrong. I apologized again for my cousin's behavior, feeling the words sound weak and inadequate. She just nodded quietly and went about her day. I could tell she was still deeply, deeply hurt, but she wasn't expressing it outwardly anymore. That quietness, it worried me even more than the anger. Later that day, my phone started blowing up. My cousins, texting me, saying I shouldn't have let Emma kick them out. They actually thought I should have stood up to her, explained that it was just a prank, that she was overreacting. I was fuming just reading the texts. I shot back a message, told them it was a completely shitty prank, and what in the hell were they expecting? A round of applause? Who pranks someone by telling them their spouse is cheating? My phone just kept buzzing. Mark, my oldest cousin, was the most persistent. He kept sending things like, "Dude, it's April Fool's. Everyone pulls pranks. We honestly didn't think she'd take it so seriously." I tried, in text messages, to explain that Emma comes from a different background, that this kind of joke hit a nerve, a really sensitive spot for her. But they just weren't listening. They were too busy feeling indignant about being kicked out. I finally sent them a message, telling them they weren't allowed in my house for a while after pulling a stunt like that. And then the real fun started. They started calling both me and Emma crazy, said I was Emma's slave because I was standing by her decision, backing her up. One of them, I swear, had the absolute nerve to say, "If you can't take a joke, you shouldn't be around people." And then, unbelievably added, "I think there are harmless pranks. Harmless after what they did, and then there's this." I really truly do not think it's unreasonable for Emma to be this upset about this, but my cousins are acting like we are the ones who are completely overreacting. And now, because of their stupid, selfish prank, there's this whole awful family drama happening. My mom called me yesterday, she did, and told me I should just forgive my cousins because that's just how they are. Like that's some kind of excuse for causing so much pain. She kept saying they didn't mean any harm. But that's missing the entire point. Even if their intention wasn't pure malice, they caused significant harm. It's like if someone carelessly knocks over something precious you own and it breaks. They might not have meant to break it, but it's still broken. The damage is done. When I tried to explain this simple logic to my mum, she just sighed and said, "Oh, you know, your cousins have always been pranksters. Remember when they put blue dye in your shampoo before prom?" As if putting some temporary color in my hair before a school dance is in any way comparable to telling my wife I'm unfaithful and shattering her trust. I ended the call feeling even more frustrated, more isolated. The thing is, Emma and I, we've been through a lot to be together. Her family, especially her parents, were initially really against our marriage. They almost disowned her for marrying outside their faith, marrying me. She fought so incredibly hard to be with me, and I don't think my cousins in their privileged little world understand the context at all. To them, like I said, April Fools. A joke. Ha ha. But to Emma, it was attacking the very thing she sacrificed so much for, the relationship she fought, her own family to build. We had to have multiple meetings with her parents, and not just quick chats, serious sit-down meetings. We met with religious leaders from her community before her parents would even consider giving their blessing to our marriage. There were conditions I had to agree to, things like agreeing to raise any future children with knowledge and respect for her faith. It was a whole massive thing, and it took a significant toll on both of us, emotionally. We were stressed, we were worried, but we got through it because we loved each other and wanted to be together. The fact that we navigated all that, the disapproval, the cultural differences, the difficult conversations, only to have my cousins casually make a joke about infidelity. It feels like such a profound slap in the face. To both of us, but especially to Emma. It cheapens everything we went through. I'm really not sure what to do next. My brother, bless him, thinks I'm overreacting too, and that Emma needs to just lighten up about it. But he wasn't there that night. He didn't see her face, didn't feel the weight of her hurt and shock. Plus, he and my cousins have always been tighter than he and I are, so he's naturally going to lean towards their side. I've got that family dinner coming up in a few weeks for my dad's birthday, and I'm honestly dreading it. My cousins will definitely be there, and I know it's going to be incredibly awkward, like unbearable. Emma has already said she doesn't want to go, and I completely understand why. But I also feel this pressure, this worry, that her not showing up will just make the family drama even worse, make her seem like the difficult one. Then again, if I try to force her to go, or even just convince her against her feelings, that'll just make things worse between us. There was that weird period, like 2 days maybe, where nobody from my family contacted me about the situation. I actually started thinking, hoping, maybe it was blowing over. But then Mark's girlfriend, Emily, somehow found Emma's social media profile on Facebook. They aren't even friends on there. And she messaged Emma directly to tell her she was being dramatic about the whole thing. Can you believe the audacity? My wife was even more upset after that. It felt like we were right back to square one. But with the added complication of people outside the immediate situation getting involved and making things worse, I feel completely stuck in the middle here, and it honestly sucks the life out of me. I love my cousins, I do. We have years of history, shared memories, stupid inside jokes, but I love Emma more. She is my wife, my partner, my family now, and she's the one who was deeply hurt, genuinely betrayed by this awful prank. Shouldn't I prioritize her feelings, her well-being, her trust? Shouldn't that come before some outdated idea of blood is thicker than water? I think so. I just wish my family would realize that and just let it go, stop pushing. So yeah, am I the jerk for standing by my wife on this one? For telling my cousins they were way out of line? I don't think so. Update 1 okay, wow. I can't believe how much this blew up when I shared it. Thanks for all the comments, even the ones calling me an idiot for not immediately siding with my wife. I've read most of them, and there are a few misconceptions I really want to clear up. First, some of you are saying my wife is controlling because she checked my phone. She is not normally like this, not at all. This wasn't a regular thing. Her checking my phone was a direct, immediate response to being told by multiple people, people she thought were part of my family, people she was trying to be friendly with, that I was cheating on her. Put yourself in her shoes for a second. Wouldn't you, feeling completely blindsided and sick to your stomach, want to verify if someone you love and trust is actually doing that, especially when multiple people are telling you it's true? Before this horrible incident, she never, ever, once asked to look through my phone, even though she's had the password for emergencies since we got married. Her checking it wasn't about controlling me. It was about her deep hurt and confusion after being fed a cruel lie. Second, to those saying I should have kicked my cousins out myself right away, you are absolutely 100% right. I should have. And I have told my wife this multiple times. I froze in the moment. It was just so shocking, so out of the blue, and I was so stunned by their cruelty and her reaction that I just couldn't react quickly enough. I regret that more than you know. In that moment, my brain just completely shut down. That's on me entirely, and I've apologized sincerely to Emma for my inaction. Third, Some of you are saying my wife overreacted. Again, I need to stress the context. You have to understand that in her culture and religious background, cheating is not just a personal betrayal between two people. It is a massive moral and religious failing. It goes against fundamental principles she holds sacred. It is simply not something people joke about ever. It's deeply, deeply offensive and harmful. To imagine someone joking about something that is absolutely core to your identity, your deepest values, something sacred to you. Maybe then you'll understand why this wasn't just a minor bad joke to her. It hit her at her very core. Anyway, a lot has happened since I first shared this. I've really tried everything I could think of to convince Emma to forgive my cousins and just move on, forget about it. I tried being understanding of my cousin's stupidity, tried to mediate in my head, but she's just not budging. And honestly, the more I think about it, the less I blame her. She still periodically checks my phone. Yes, it happens less often now, but it still happens. And it makes me feel like maybe she still has a little bit of suspicion, or maybe the doubt they planted is just taking a long time to fade. That's what makes me so angry at my cousins. They planted that seed of doubt. Last week, I made her favorite dinner, spent ages on it, set the table nicely, tried to create a relaxed atmosphere, and I tried talking to her about it again. I told her again that I knew my cousins were idiots, but maybe, just maybe, they didn't fully realize the harm they were doing. She just looked at me across the table, her eyes calm but sad, and said very quietly, if they didn't mean harm, they wouldn't have done something so harmful. And honestly, standing there looking at her face, I couldn't argue with that logic at all. She was right. Their intentions, whatever they claim they were, are irrelevant compared to the actual harm they caused. My cousins have also made things worse by trying to reach out to her directly to explain. A shitty apology is worse than no apology sometimes. They found her email address somehow, I still don't know how, and sent her this group email that was supposed to be an apology. But it wasn't. It was like, we're sorry you took it the wrong way, or we're sorry if we offended you, which, as anyone knows, is not actually apologizing for what you did, just for the other person's reaction to it. Emma was even angrier after they contacted her directly. It felt like an invasion. She showed me the email, and it was pretty condescending. They wrote stuff like, we understand you come from a different background, but in our family, we joke around a lot. As if that makes their actions okay, or like her background is the reason she was hurt, rather than the nature of the prank itself. She just looked at me and repeated again, her voice shaking a little, that she didn't marry me only to have people tell her I'm in bed with another woman. As I mentioned before, Emma is incredibly religious. Marrying her was a huge achievement for me because of all the obstacles we faced together. She fought so hard with her family just to be with me, and I understand completely why she's so sensitive, so protective of our marriage. Her parents didn't speak to her for 3 months after she told them about me. 3 months of silence from her own family. They only finally came around after meeting me multiple times and seeing that I genuinely respected their customs and high traditions. Even then, her father pulled me aside right before the wedding and gave me a very serious warning. If I ever hurt his daughter, there would be consequences. He looked me right in the eye. I promised him I never would, and I meant it with every fiber of my being. So I finally sat her down again, properly this time. I looked her in the eye and asked her, point blank, what she needed from me. What did she want me to do to make things better for us? She said she'd already told me, but I asked her to just say it clearly one more time, promising that I would do whatever she felt was necessary, that her feelings were what mattered most. We were sitting at our kitchen table late at night, maybe 11 p.m. The house was quiet. I made us both tea. We used to do that every night, a little ritual before bed. We hadn't done it in ages because of the tension. Making the tea, sitting there together, felt like this small, fragile step back towards us. She explained it all. Again. Her voice was quiet but firm. She is deeply, profoundly hurt by what my cousins said and did. She simply does not want them anywhere near us, near our lives anymore. She wants me to stay as far away from them as possible, too. As she was talking, I could see tears start to well up in her eyes, and my heart it ached. Seeing her like that, seeing the raw pain this had caused her for what? Her stupid, unfunny prank. Then she started crying, really crying, and screaming at me, the pain pouring out. "Do you have any idea what my family said when I told them I wanted to marry you?" she cried. "They said you wouldn't respect our ways, that you'd end up hurting me, that men like you always cheat." She was sobbing. "I defended you, I stood up for you, I fought them. And now your own family makes jokes about the exact thing my parents warned me about. It's like they were right about you." I had never ever seen her break down like that. It was like everything she had held inside since that horrible night. The shock, the hurt, the fear, the validation of her family's initial doubts. It all just came pouring out in that moment. I got up immediately, went to her, and just held her tight. I held her while she cried. I told her over and over again how much I loved her, that I knew her family was wrong about me, that I would never hurt her like that. I promised her right there and then that she would never see me willingly with my cousins again, unless and until she felt comfortable with it, if that day ever came. That seemed to calm her down eventually. She leaned into me and the sobbing slowed down. Here's the thing, plain and simple. If I have to cut off my cousins, people I've known my entire life, people who were like siblings, if cutting them off is what it takes to protect my wife, my life partner, the woman I love more than anything, the woman who is so dedicated to me and our marriage, then that is exactly what I will do. Without hesitation. It's not even a choice, really. I should have realized that sooner. I should have listened to her from the start, instead of trying to make excuses for them or convince her to forgive them when she was so clearly, deeply hurt. Emma is incredibly religious, incredibly dedicated to me, and I was being a complete ass about this whole situation by prioritizing the comfort of my cousins over her pain and trust. After that raw, emotional talk, things have been a little bit better between us. It's not like everything is magically fixed overnight, not at all. She's still distant sometimes. You can feel the barrier is still there. But at least we're talking again. We've started having dinner together, at the table again, which feels like a small step forward. She even suggested we watch a movie together one night, just the two of us on the couch. That was the first time she'd initiated any kind of shared, relaxed activity since the incident. It felt like a tiny sign of hope. My cousins. They've been absolutely blowing up my phone. Texts, missed calls, group messages, non-stop for days. But I've completely stopped responding. I just ignore it. One of them, Mark, even showed up at our house yesterday. I saw his car pull up from the living room window. He knocked. For maybe 20 minutes, on and off. He didn't stop. I didn't answer the door. I just watched from the upstairs window as he paced back and forth on our porch, looking at his phone, looking frustrated. Part of me, that old part, felt a pang of something. Guilt, sadness. But a much, much bigger, stronger part of me knew I was doing the right thing. The necessary thing. For Emma. For us. Mark finally left, but he shoved a note under our door. Said he wanted to apologize to Emma in person. I picked up the note later and showed it to her. She read it, her face unreadable for a moment, then just shook her head slowly and handed it back to me without saying anything. I think it's just way too soon for any kind of face-to-face apology like that. Honestly, I don't know if she'll ever be ready for it. My aunt, their mum, called me last night. Gave me the whole lecture about how I'm tearing the family apart over a stupid joke, and I was tired. So incredibly tired of the same conversation, the same excuses. I just told her very calmly that maybe her kids should think before they act next time, and that their joke had real, serious consequences. And then I hung up the phone. Probably not the most mature response, I know, but I'm just exhausted by their complete lack of understanding and remorse, and by everyone acting like Emma's reaction isn't valid. I did have a long conversation with my brother yesterday. He's usually the voice of reason in our family, a bit more grounded. I explained the whole story to him, all the details about Emma's background, what she went through with her family for our marriage, the cultural significance of trust and fidelity for her. After hearing everything from my perspective, he finally agreed that my cousins had completely crossed a line. He offered to talk to them on my behalf, try to explain things in a way they might listen to, coming from someone else in the family. I really appreciated that. Maybe hearing it from him, someone closer to them, might actually make them understand just how deeply hurtful and damaging their prank was. I'm still not entirely sure what happens next. The thought of potentially losing my relationship with my cousins, people who were such a big part of my life for so long, it's sad. There's no getting around that. But a much, much bigger part of me knows, with absolute certainty, that my marriage comes first. My wife comes first. They crossed a line that directly attacked the most sacred part of our relationship, and they are still refusing to truly apologize or acknowledge the depth of the pain they caused. Last night, Emma and I had dinner with her parents. It was the first time we'd seen them since the incident, and yeah, I was pretty nervous about how it would go if they'd heard anything. Her mom asked why Emma seemed a little down, and to my surprise, Emma just told them everything. The whole story, from the prank to how hurt she was. Her father listened quietly, and then looked at me with such deep disappointment. It was awful. It felt like it just confirmed every single fear he'd ever had about me, about marrying outside their community. I had to explain multiple times, desperately, that I wasn't actually cheating, that it was just a horrible, cruel prank my cousins played. I'm honestly not sure if they fully believed me. That doubt is just out there now, lingering. On the drive home, Emma was quiet. When we got back to the house, she just said, her voice tired, "You see what this has done? Now my parents think you're exactly what they feared you'd be." It was a gut punch, realizing that the consequences of one incredibly thoughtless prank aren't just between me, Emma, and the cousins. They've reached out, affecting her relationship with her parents, potentially setting back all the progress we made with them. For now, I'm absolutely sticking with my decision to cut contact with my cousins, completely. Maybe someday, in the distant future, if they somehow truly understand and apologize, and if Emma ever feels ready. Maybe, but I'm not counting on it anytime soon. And honestly, at this point, after seeing how they've behaved and the pain they've caused and continue to cause, I'm not sure I even want to forgive them either. This morning, something small happened. When I was in the shower, Emma didn't check my phone. It was the first time in weeks that I noticed that. It's a tiny thing, I know, almost insignificant, but it feels like a little piece of trust. A tiny bit of the damage is starting to heal. We had breakfast together, and she even smiled at something I said. It wasn't much, but it gave me hope. Hope that we'll get through this eventually. Hope that the damage they caused isn't permanent. It's still a really long, difficult road, though. A really long road back to where we were. Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to follow the channel for more deep and meaningful stories.